Redditors who went to high school with a celebrity, what were they like before they were famous? Didn't go to school with him, but Eminem did a speech at my school when I about 14. I walked out of the auditorium halfway through to go hang out with my then girlfriend. After his speech, Eminem toured the school. My girlfriend and I saw him and jokingly called out his name, to which he heard us and came over to chat for a few minutes. Pretty cool reward for skipping class and hanging out in the halls. Very down-to-earth guy. Went to high school with Drake. He put $3 separate into a vending machine before he realized it was broken. At that point he was famous as the wheelchair guy from Degrassi. That is the most Drake thing I've ever heard. Grew up in the city in between the cities where Chris Pratt and Anna Faris grew up. My older brother knew Anna through other friends, and Chris used to sell me cheeseburgers when I'd go to the car show in the parking lot of King Charlie's, where he worked. To my knowledge they didn't know each other yet. My older sister went to school with Brad Pitt. He asked her out once and she agreed to go, but the night before their date, her ex called and they made up and she cancelled the date with Brad. My mom went to high school in Michigan with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. She said they were always making movies and were both pretty big dorks, but everybody loved them. She even showed me old pictures of them filming the school news in her yearbooks. Barely counts, but when I was getting a tattoo, a Bruno Mars song came on and my artist started laughing and said he went to elementary school with him. Apparently all he remembers any time he hears him is that he shit his pants on a field trip and cried until he was picked up by his mom. I went to school with Margot Robbie. She was in her final year when I started high school. She was one of the mentors that I had in the first year of high school, and she seemed like a pretty normal person, very kind. I think she already had a little bit of fame at this point, but I was none the wiser to it. He didn't go to my high school, but I grew up really close to Justin Bieber and I had friends that were close to him. One of them was actually in his movie. The Biebs brought him down to LA for a vacation. Don't really know much about how he used to be, but everyone used to make fun of him for the videos he used to put on YouTube singing. Then they all miraculously wanted to be besties after he got discovered. My dad went to high school with the voice of Patrick Star. He was actually a really smart, popular, nice guy. He was also naturally goofy, as you might expect. I can't even imagine what the person would look like because all I can picture is a star. My dad went to the same high school as Steve Harvey and told me he couldn't believe it when he discovered he was famous because Steve hardly ever said anything and was the shy kid. That surprises me. I was a year behind Zach Galifianakis in elementary and high school. He seems like pretty much the exact same guy he was years ago, down to earth, super funny and a little goofy. He was also a Boy Scout. Boy Scout totally describes this guy. At some point, he made friends with a homeless woman. He got her an apartment and paid her expenses for quite a period of time. He has also brought her along to several of his movie premieres. My girlfriend went to high school with Penn. She says he was a super nice guy who was voted most likely best in about 5 different categories on top of being class president. He went on a road trip with my girlfriend's sister to visit Stanford too. She says they were all so proud when he got his first role. Nice to have your suspicions confirmed when you think somebody is a decent person. Taylor Lautner went to my high school. He was a year ahead. He was also a kinda weird kid. I remember him rolling around on the floor in his video production class. There was also that time the Elephant Bar was mobbed with paparazzi in town cause he went there with his then GF Taylor Swift. I also rented a library book with Ashley Tisdale's name in it. Good old Santa Clarita. My friend's mom went to high school with the pro wrestler George, the Animal, Steele. He was the guy who used to play an insane guy who would eat the turnbuckles. He asked her on a date and she went with him and said he was really nice, but they both decided they just didn't quite hit it off. They remained friends, though. Went to high school with Mike Will Made It, sat next to him in geometry my freshman year, his sophomore. He was pretty quiet for the most part, okay with the schoolwork as far as I remember. Even the people he talked to didn't seem to know all that much about him and kinda teased him for how quiet he always was. Started hearing whispers of him hanging with Gucci by my junior year, 2006, and then he blew up like 4 to 5 years later. Subscribe to the channel, like, and watch other videos.